Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Thank you, Avi. Thank you, Shmulik. Thank you, Sasson. Thank you, Yochanan. Thank you, Jack. Thank you, Pinchas. Thank you, Yoyo. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Mitzvah Hashem, tonight and next week, Sunday night, for these 3 weeks, we're going to do a special thing on Hilchas Beis HaBchira, on the things that are Negeya, because this is the time to focus on the rebuilding of the third Beis HaMikdash. I might even do tomorrow night, just because tomorrow night I'm giving a special shir. Also, it will be on the Beis HaMikdash. Either we'll learn the Mishnayos Midas, or there was an unbelievable controversy that happened about 150 years ago in Israel. A Yid that published a book. Let me jump ahead of myself about the Harabayis. So tonight I'd like to focus on the Mizbeach. I know I mentioned this several times, especially last year in the 3 weeks. It was Nifted. Choshev Yid. His name was Reb Dov Lavnuni. His name was Reb Berel Weiss before the war. He changed his name to Lavnuni, and he had many things in his life. He went through the Holocaust and he survived. He decided he was a dentist. Then he decided he was a Rav. He was a scholar. He was many things. He treated the Belt Zaruv. And at the Seif Yamav, he was very into studying the Beis HaMikdash. And he built a model of the Beis HaMikdash. He traveled around the world. He also had it as a business, where he built models of buildings to project what it would look like when it was built, so on. So he decided to build a model of the Beis HaMikdash. I know I shared the story with you. But just to start off, I'll share the story again, which is fascinating. In the beginning of his book, he has Askamas, many Choshev Rabbonim. He has from the Salvaget Rebbe and Ha'oretz from him and other Rabbonim. And then he has a picture of him bringing Chof Vov Adar, Aleph, Tav Shinum Beis. And last time the Rebbe gave out dollars. He brings his model of the Beis HaMikdash to the Rebbe. And he says for 1 minute, the Rebbe looked at it intently. You see in the picture, the Rebbe was looking at it very strongly. And then the Rebbe looks up and he said, the Mizbeach, the Rebbe said, it seems to me that the ramp to the Mizbeach is a little short. He came back home and he says, yep. I mean, this was all proportionate, right? So 10 amas. 1 millimeter? 10 millimeter. He was a mistake of 3 millimeter. And he couldn't believe it. Then the Rebbe turned to his wife, he gave her $1, and he said, you should be zoichet to see the Beis HaMikdash HaShlishi. When the Beis HaMikdash HaShlishi is built, and you'll ask your husband if everything was built correctly. I've shared some fascinating things. He has a study. I've shared it last year, so I don't want to go through it again. But just that I have the book in my hand, so I could show you. He has a thesis that says that the Al-Aqsa mosque and the dome of the rock are both far off from the place of the Beis HaMikdash, not like commonly thought. It's not a very complicated thesis. He writes it up very nicely and he proves it, and it's his opinion. But it's fascinating to see. I'll show you a picture, 2 pictures. One is what the Hadabayis looks like right now, and the second is where he thinks is the exact place of the Mizbeach and the exact place of the Beis HaMikdash, which is totally not in the place of the Dome of the Rock. He brings Maimonides Chazal that say that place will forever be empty, that this will forever be able to make a miracle, that forever that place will be empty. And indeed, he says that place is empty now, and it's waiting for the Beis HaMikdash to be rebuilt. He has a fascinating idea. I mean, obviously, he talks about the importance of studying the Beis HaMikdash, and like we spoke about last week, that the Eibush said to Yecheskel, that through learning the Beis HaMikdash, it's going to be as if Binyan Beis is not bottled. And we'll learn about it further, the beautiful Sikha, next week perhaps, or tomorrow. But he says, how are we going to know exactly the place of the Mizbeach? We know that Chazal tell us, and the Gemara says in Zavochim, the Gemara says in Zvachim, and the Rambam brings it lahalocha. The Gemara says in Daf Samach Beis, Three prophets went up together with the Eden from the Golas. One told them about the Mizbeach, so basically, two of the three prophecies were, one is about the exact space of the Mizbeach, because it must be exact, and this other Nevius was to say that even the base of Mikdash was not rebuilt, that they could do the Avodah on the Mizbeach. So Rabbi Lavnuni was like all over I must say there were many Gedolei Yisrael that throughout the ages that came up with this idea that even before Mashiach comes, the base of Mikdash should be rebuilt, we could make korbanos. And I spoke about it once, and as a fascinating story, because I was in the Bronx. I was very my wife, her Zaidi, Mr. David Hirsch, Zechrayna Levrocha, was very close to Rabbi Charlap, yet his father, Rabbi Chil Michal Charlap, and we were close to him, and he told me a story about from his grandfather, who was one of Choshev Rabbanim Yerushalayim. He was very close to Harav Kook, and he wrote a ton of svarim. He was so the Chofetz Chaim wrote him a letter asking him if he can. The Chofetz Chaim was thinking of coming to the Eretz Yisrael to arrange for him to have permission to go up to the Har HaBayis, because he wanted to bring the Korban Pesach and the Mokim HaMizbeach. So Rabbi Lavnuni has an unbelievable thought. How are you going to find where's the Mokim HaMizbeach? How are you supposed to find it? Today's Sikha, we're going to learn about the Mokim HaMizbeach. And the Rambam says that Mizbeach Mekomos Mechuvan Beyoser. It has to be precise. So, how are you going to know where exactly is the space to put up the Mizbeach? The Gemara says that when they came up, there was, the Gemara says here in Zvachim, the Gemara says that there were three ways they knew. They saw a vision of the Mizbeach and Mechol Sara Godel on it, so they knew that was the space. Obviously, that's not happening right now. They saw the dust of Yitzchak. And the Bishmal Barachmai Nomer B'Cholabais Pulerichureich Ketoides. They smelled on the ground. They smelled the Ketoides. Misham Erichureich Evonim. All three of these things they don't apply today. How are you going to find where's the Mokim HaMizbeach? So Rav Dov Lavnuni has a brilliant idea. He says very simple. He says, I'm not sure in my lifetime this will be possible, but maybe it will be possible. So I think he passed away. I'm sorry, I said last year, I think it was 2 years ago he passed away. So he says, if there was a technology that could figure out where there are cavities under the ground. Now, we know that the Mizbeach had shittim that were yoded until Nachal Kidron. So if we can find that there's two parallel little pipes that are going down all the way under the Har HaBayis, told the Nachal Kidron, so wherever it ends up in the Har HaBayis, that is the Mokim HaMizbeach. So the truth is that within the past 2 years, this technology has become very much available, because Israel had no choice because of the terrorist caves that were coming from Gaza into Israel to develop this technology. Now, if Rabbi Lavnuni was still alive, he'd be going crazy. He'd say, okay, let's go, let's find out where the two shittim going down from the Mizbeach to the Nachal Kidron, because they can locate where the Mizbeach is, and then we could go bring korbanos on the Mizbeach.
If you could use these cameras.
I am not sure everyone is going to agree with Rabbi Lavnuni's excitement. In fact, I am sure that many Gedolei Yisrael will not agree with him.
It's 100% possible now with LiDAR. We've had it for many, many years from space. They have technology which can check.
I'm saying, but it's been quite developed in the past couple of years.
100%.
So Rabbi Lavnuni was onto something.
How do you think they found where Yeshua was camped? How do you think they found it?
Right.
They used that technology.
So anyway, this is going to be the subject for tonight, which is the Mokim HaMizbeach, and what is unique about the Mokim HaMizbeach. Okay, so if you have the Marei Mekomos, I'll thank you all for sending him out. And if you can open it up, it's a terrific Sikha, which is published over here in the Sefer, Hilchos Beis HaBchira LaRambam, Chidushim and V'Yurim from the Rebbe. Collection of Sikhs from the Rebbe on the Nyonim of Beis HaMikdash. Rambam Hilchos Beis HaBchira Perek Beis Halacha Aleph. HaMizbeach Mekomim Mechuvim B'Yosef. The Mizbeach is precise. Ve'ein Meshanin Oisim and Mekomim Eloyolam. You can never change the place of the Mizbeach. Shenema Zeh Mizbeach La'oila Liyisrael. The Pasuk says, this is the space of the Mizbeach. Ubemikdash Neked Yitzchak Avinu. And the place of the Mikdash is where there was Aked of Yitzchak. Shenemar V'lech L'chol Eretz HaMoriah. You should go to the Mount Moriah, which is the Har Moriah, which is the place of the base of the Mikdash. Shenemar B'divrei Hayomim V'yechal Shlomo Livnus Beis Hashem Yerushalayim B'Har Moriah. That Shlomo concluded to build Hashem's house in Yerushalayim on this mountain called Har Moriah. And that's the mountain Hashem Nidar LeDavid Avihu, which was shown by the Almighty to David his father, Shehechim B'Makim David, which David prepared this space for the Eibishter, Begoyden Arnan Ayavusi, in the field of the Goyden. The Goyden is the place where they collect it's like the barn, the place where they collect the tfuah of the Goy called Arnan Ayavusi. This is Halacha Aleph. Halacha Beis, second Halacha. Mesoides Biyad HaKoil. There's a tradition. There is they pass down a Mesoida. Shehamakim Shebono by David and Shlomo Mizbeach Begoyren Aravono, the place that David and Shlomo built the Mizbeach. Hamakim Shebono by Avram Mizbeach. This is the place, the very space that Avram built the Mizbeach. V'okad alam Yitzchak and did that Kedis Yitzchak. Hamakim. This is the very space Shebono by Noach. Sheyotzam and Akeba. This is the space that Noach used to build the Mizbeach when he came out of the Teva. And not only that, this is the same Mizbeach. That Cain and Hevel brought their offering to Hashem. Not only that, the that's the place that Adam Rishon brought the carbon when he was born. And that from that soil, Adam Rishon was born, created.
Rabbi, did Avram Avinu, when he took his...
Our sages said that a human being was from the place of the kapara. The Eibishter said, let me create him from the place of his kapara. So in other words, we have 5 things of this uniqueness of the place of the Mizbeach. Adam Rishon was created from there. Adam Rishon brought the carbon there. Cain Vehevel brought the carbon there. Noach brought the carbon there. And Avram Avinu brought Yitzchak as an Aked in that space. So you have a question?
Yeah, Avram Avinu brought Yitzchak to the Akedah and Har Moriah. But before that said, when he took the boys with him, he told them another 3 days we get there. So why took him 3 days to get? He was living in Yerushalayim, no?
No, he wasn't. Then he was living in the. They lived in Beersheba then.
So take 3 days from Beersheba to Yerushalayim?
You walk, I guess. We don't know exactly where Beersheba is.
לא היה להם קו 431.
כן. It was hard to scale those mountains.
A camel.
They didn't have a camel, they had a donkey. Camel is much better. Okay. So, summarize of 2 halachas in the Rambam. You smell that there's a problem here. When the Rambam gives you one thing and he has to split it into 2 halachas, why does the Rambam have to split it into 2 halachas? He's telling you the uniqueness of the place of the Mizbeach and the yichus of this place. Why can't he say the whole thing in 1 halacha? We know when the Rambam splits something in 2 halachas, it's very significant. We'll get to that soon. So there are Choronim that say that it seems to them that there's a simple machloikis harishonim over here. The Chinuch says, "Eina makom skuli la'ashras hashchina." There's no special place for the ashras hashchina. The pasuk says, "V'hoya makom asher yivcher Hashem." There is the place that God will choose. The base of Bechira Yerushalayim. Shama tavio l'seichem v'zivcheichem. There is a place that God will choose. You can choose this place. Bechira means you can do this, you can do that. You flip a coin, and ends up being heads. So the chinuch says, "Eina makom seguli la'ashras hashchina." There's no, in other words, there's no special mila in this place. There's nothing unique in this soil. It's just that the Eibishter chose this place. It's bechira. It's a beis habechira. Makom hashivcher Hashem. The Rambam says, according to these achronim, the opposite. We see that the Mizbeach is a miyuchazdik place. That's where Adam Rishon, that soil was used to create him. Adam Rishon brought his carbon there. Cain Beheva brought the carbon there. Noach brought the carbon. Avram brought the Akedah there. What are you talking about? It's a unique place. It's a very miyuchazdik makom. Where else? In Times Square? Where else did the Adam Rishon and Noach and Cain Beheva and Avram Avinu all converge to make a Mizbeach, to bring a carbon to the Eibishter? Grand Army Plaza. This is the space. It's a unique place. It's a makom zguli. That's what the Achronim think, that there's a machloikis here. And the emissaries, Dr. Rebbe, if we look into the Tzemach Tzedek and the Torah, it's like a shmak shtickle Torah from the Tzemach Tzedek. Tzemach Tzedek brings a machloikis about the place of the Beis HaMikdash. That after it's chosen, if this is a unique place or not a unique place. And he says, there's one opinion, he says the machloikis Rambam and Ramban, the Rambam in Morei Mekomos. And he gives a mashal to explain this machloikis. He says, according to the Rambam Morei Mekomos, the Ashros Hashchin in the Mikdash is like you take a pen and you write something with your hand, advar sichli. Your hand does not have a brain. It's just that, how are you going to write? You can't put your pen in your ear. You can't put it in your nose. You can't put it in your mouth. You can't put it in your toes. The Eibishter made that the hand could bring a dvar sichli and write it to communicate it, to put ink on paper. However, the Ramban holds, according to this, the explanation of Tzemach Tzedek, that Ashros Hashchina and this Makom the Mikdash is bedugmas is slabshus ha-seichel b'moyach. Just like a seichel goes into your brain. It's not just that there's a wet piece of a rubbery thing over there under your skull that's sitting right under your skull. There's this rubbery, watery, mushy thing. And through there is flowing, the brain is understanding the Dvar Seichel. The fingers are not understanding the Dvar Seichel. However, even the fingers have something unique because they're not like your toes. You can't write a Dvar Seichel with your toes. So, summarize, there's something unique about the brain and about the hands. The brain could process a Seichel and the hand could process a Seichel. But it's very different. The moyach, the besar ha-moyach, actually gets the seichel. It seeps into the moyach. It's a kli muchshe the Eibishter made that the brain can understand the seichel. The hand is also a keli muchshe to communicate seichel, but your hand doesn't understand the seichel. But it's still, the Eibishter made the 5 fingers as a kli muchshe to be able to write a dvar seichel. With this mashal, Tzemach Tzedek explains the machloikis of the Rambam and the Ramban. According to the Ramban, it's mamish the mokem hashchina in the soil of the Har HaBayis, in the mokem hamizbeach befrat, is like the seichel in the brain. And according to the Rambam, no, it's like the seichel that flows through the pen and the ink that's going through your fingers. So we do see a machloikis rishonim similar to what we said before. In other words, we said before it's a machloikis Rambam and Chinuch, that is the mokem hamizbeach unique because that's where that soil was used to create Adam Rishon. That's where Adam Rishon brought his Mizbeach, Cain Behevel brought the carbon, and that's where Noach brought his carbon, and that's where Avram Avinu brought the carbon of the Akedah. Or is it Yivchar Hashem? Like the Chinuch says, it is nothing unique. So just like we have this machloikis, similar to this, we have this other machloikis, which is mamish hand and glove. It's the same thing. That's a sort of more on a nigla words, nigloisis, and over here, pikabola, pichakira. But it's the same idea. The machlok is the Rambam Ramban. What's the mokem hamikdash? Is it like the brain holding a seichel, or like the hand holding a pen?
When we said the
Beautiful.
mokom, can I take the
The
karka?
problem is that the shittas don't line up over here.
Can I take the karka, let's say 10 feet by 10 feet, dig down 10 feet, this holy karka, put it somewhere, this is the Mizbeach?
That's a question.
no,
I mean, there is
no,
a
this is
Indian
the-
of
that place.
yeah.
Doesn't matter.
The karka was used in order to use for a soita, for example. So how deep could you dig, and the karka is still kosher for the soita? I don't know. It's a good question.
So what's
Probably
is
at
it
that time.
the mokom? What's the mokom? The karka or the mokom is the place? It doesn't make a difference if it's 10 deep,
Also a
10
good
feet
question.
down,
Also
or
a good
100
question.
feet down.
Also a good question. Also a good question.
No,
Well,
because Rambam said
After
the
you
mokom
solve
is the
that
two
question,
be'eser.
you have to ask, so this mokum and this soil, is it like the brain that holds a davar seichel, or is it like a hand that holds a pen that can communicate? And that's similar to this other machlokes. Is it mokum asher yivcher Hashem, or is it really a miyuchas dikamakim, a kedusha dikamakim? That was the place of creation of Adam Rishon. That's where Adam Rishon brought a korban. That's where Cain V'Sheis brought a korban. That's when Aaron brought a korban. That's where Abraham brought the Akedah. The problem is that the shittas like don't line up. They're like the other way around. The Rambam, who says that the Beis Mikdash, the Mokem Mizbeach has an unbelievable yichus, is the one that says in Marei Mekomos that the Shechina in the Mokem Mikdash is like a pen in the hand, not like the seichel in the brain. So even though the Rambam could change his mind from the Marei Mekomos to the Sefer Hayad, Sanishkin Velt's kasha, still it would be better to be miyashiv that the Rambam and the Marei Mekomos, the Rambam and the Sefer Hayad HaChazak and the Mishnah Torah should go together nicely. And B'chlal, the Rebbe says there's a whole bunch of kashas over here.
Rabbi, was there ever a question that came up where the ikar, the concentration of the Shekhinah, was the main place?
That's a separate question. What's the main concentration? Shechina is in the Mokum of the Mizbeach, or is it the Mokum of the Kodesh HaKadoshim? And what's the main thing of the Mishkan and the Beis HaMikdash? Is the main function the Mokum of Mizbeach, or the main function is the Mokum HaOren? And we touched on it a little bit this winter, and I hope we'll get to it in Mitzvah Hashem in the 3 weeks. That discussion, which is another discussion, which is a beautiful discussion.
Also, the kelim from the Mizbeach is part of the Mizbeach, or it's two separate things? There's a Mizbeach and a kelim.
Pashtus is a different thing. Pashtus, all the kelim that negate the Mizbeach are not a chelik of the Mizbeach. Not like
According to the Rambam, the way bringing the halacha, the Rebbe bring out that it's not like two separate things. It's like a part of the building. It became one.
The Mizbeach, not the
Mizbeach
kelim.
and the kelim that the Mizbeach has.
We'll get to that. About the kelim. Is it a separate mitzvah from the Mishkan and the Mikdash or not? Yes, it's a good discussion. But here, and what we're dealing with here, the Rebbe says that Pashtus, if you look at that pasuk, you must read the psukim in the Torah. If you read the psukim in the A, it's the Eibush who chooses. There's nothing unique in the place. Before that, they were in Shiloh, in Neve Giva. There's nothing unique in this place until the Eibush chooses this place. And there's a Befedish of Maimah Chazal. The Maimah Chazal is a Befedish in the Mechilta, the beginning of the Mechilta. Achel Nivchiri Yerushalayim, Hoysa Kol Eretz Yisrael, Ksheir LeMizbachas. Achel Nivche Beis Elamim, Hoysa Yerushalayim, Ruya L'Shchina. Achel Nivche Yerushalayim, everything was Roy. So it's clear in Maimah Chazal. And in the Rambam itself, if you medayik in the Rambam, in the words of the Rambam, if you medayik, he says that the Mizbeach is Mekomos Mechuvim B'Yosef. It's very exact. And the first halacha, he doesn't go into the yichus of the place. He just says that the Mizbeach is very exact. And then he brings it even from the pasuk. It is like, why does he have to bring such an arichas in the pasuk? It says that the choice of the psukim is all that this was the choice of the Eibishter in this place. And specifically in the last pasuk, it says, finished. So you know that the Beis Hashem was built in Har HaMoriah. Why do you have to say any further? Why does he have to quote the whole end of the pasuk? The Rambam is emphasizing This was the Eibishter needed, the Eibishter revealed himself to David to say, this is the place that I picked, not because of the Yichus of the place, but I picked it. And you know what? He emphasizes in the pasuk that this place was not some yuchasdik place. It wasn't that we're talking about a fancy base medrash or a base knesses. It was a goyden. It was a farm, and you know whose farm? McDonald's farm. It wasn't that Shlomo Melech's farm. It wasn't David the Melech's farm. It was Ayavusi, Arnon Ayavusi. It was just a Joe Schmo, a Yavusi, a goy. And it was a goyden to show you that there was no yichus in the smokim. The yichus in the mokim is because the Abish to pick the smokim.
Didn't they know that's where the Akedah was?
Huh?
Didn't they know that that was where the Akedah was?
Oh. So exactly. So l'chayda, what do you mean? The Rambam calls it also hilchas beis habechira. In other words, even though he says that the mitzvah is wasli mikdash, he calls it kliya mikdash, he calls it hilchas beis habechira. In other words, this is in bechiras hakadosh baruch. But l'chayda, it's the Rambam doch gesagt. Mesaydes be'ad hakol, shamakim shemona by David, hu amakim shemona by Abraham, Noach, Cain, Hevel, Vayikra, Vodom, Merishim, Karm, Shnibra, Veshamnibra. So you are saying that this is a yichus dikem makim. You're contradicting yourself in halacha based from halacha aleph. What's going on? You're contradicting yourself. And Bachlav, why is it the last thing he says? Amr chachamim odem makim kaparos nivra. You said already. What's the extra thing? Amr chachamim odem makim kaparos nivra. When the Rebbe says a beautiful word, that's why the Rambam splits it into halachas. You want to know Mizbeach Mekomos mechuven beyoser vein shana noisem kemela olam. Why is it mechuven beyoser? Why is aim shana noisoi? Shen nemar zem Mizbeach lo Yisrael. The Eibishter picked it. The Eibishter picked it. And the fact that he says mikdash neked Yitzchok is not to say the mile of the place. It's like the Gemara says Meno Yoda. How did they know? Oh, because every shal Yitzchok ro shamunach beyoser makim. Would be that the Rambam holds that the main raya, there was 3 dyes they had at that place. Not like Dov Lavnuni, which says that maybe the technology will show us where the shitkin was. They didn't have the technology. But they smelled the soil, and they smelled Avodim, and they also, they looked at the offer, and they saw over there was the offer Shel Yitzchak. So all this, the Rambam is emphasizing the first halach, saying, and he finishes off saying that this is Ashenida LeDavid. The Eibishter showed that this should be the place. And you know what? This place has no yichus. It's going down in Yevus. Halacha beis, the Rambam starts saying about the yichus of the place. Beautiful words of the Rebbe to answer Aaron Shaila. The Rebbe says you could say a svara like this. What happened first, the chicken or the egg? What happened first? Is it that the Eibishter picked this place because that's where Avraham Avinu brought his son as the Akedah, or the other way around? That Avraham Avinu was a Navi, or better yet, the Eibishter decided that to tell Avraham Avinu to bring his son to Akedah there because the Eibishter knew that he's going to pick this place. Odemerish, Cain veHevel, Noach, and Avraham, they brought the carbon on this place, and not that consecrated this place, and that was miyachas the place. It became a mekudesh and a meyuchasdik place. It's the other way around. Because they knew Beruach Kodshim that this is the place that's going to be Asher Yivcher Hashem. Therefore, they brought the carbon there. Not that the Eibishter picked this place because this was a consecrated holy place. This is the place of Odemerish and Cain veHevel, Noach, and Avraham Avinu's carbon. The other way around. They brought their carbon here because they knew Benevuah Beruach HaKodesh that the Eibush is going to pick this place. The only problem with saying this is we know that, like it says in Tanya, Tzadik v'Rosh Eloi Ka'ama, that the Eibush that can't say if a person is going to be a Tzadik v'Rosh. Why? Because that takes away the Bechira. The Eibishter could know, but he can't say it because that will take away the Bechira. So over here, it's if you say that the Eibishter created Misham Nivra, the Eibishter created Adam from this place. So in other words, the Eibishter made a Ma'aseh to show that to consecrate this space, to show this the most special place on planet Earth. And that's where the Eibishter took the soil to make Adam Manish. Zok the Rambam Nein, Amru Chachamim, Adam Imakim Kaparosa Nivra. It's the other way around. The Eibishter picked this place, the Bechira Chavshis. Therefore, Adam, Rishon, Cain, Vehevel, Noach, and Avram made their carbon there. And the Eibishter said, oh, because they're going to make their carbon there, I'm going to use that soil to create them. But what comes first? The Bechiras HaKadosh Baruch Hu and the Smakim. Okay, it's unbelievable lumdus, but for it, the kasha is, why would the Rambam go into this, say, the Yichus of the Makim? If the main thing is that the Makim Asher Yivcher Hashem, it's because that was the Eibishter pick, the Bechira Chavshis, not that is a. So why did the Rambam have to say the second halacha b'chlach? But the Rebbe, there's a mila in each thing. There's a mila in kedusha and a mila in Bechira. Just like we spoke about the other day, that the Yid has an neshama. Over there's not Bechira. We spoke about this before Shavuos time. We spoke in the context of our learning. And we spoke about it in the Nusach in the Birchas Krishma. There's two things. There is the Ma'ila of a Yid as a Neshama. Neshama Shenasatri Tahoidei. It's Torah v'Kodesh. That the Alter Rebbe over there, it can't be Bechira. Bechira means two things are equal. To say the Neshama of a Yid and Neshama of a Goy, you can't compare the two. They're not equal. Bechira, sagt der Alter Rebbe, is neguf of the Yid. Shadnidma bechumriusei legufei umas ha'olam. Over there is Bechira. Same thing here. Sagt der Rebbe, there is two things in the Makom HaMikdash. And befrat in the Makom HaMizbeach. There is Kedusha and there is Bechira. There is a Maila in each one. Yesh bazeh ma she'ein bazeh v'yesh bazeh ma she'ein bazeh. Each one of these two has a certain Maila that the other one doesn't have. Kedusha is something, it belongs to me. It belongs to me. It's in what Yosef was Niskadish. A person that serves Hashem is Niskadish Kodesh Kadosh. The Neshama is Kedusha Tahira. So that's that seeps into the from head to toe when there's kedusha. Bechira could be in the goof of the Yid also. But then the mile of Bechira is mitzad the Eibishter. It's not so pneumistic. It doesn't seep through the person from end to end. So therefore, there's a Maila in each one. There is a Maila in each one. Ilu Noima. There's a Maila. This is not what the Rebbe is saying, but I'm just saying Dava Pasha, it seems to me. There's a Maila in the brain, right? Because the brain takes in Advar Seichel. It can mamish take in Advar Seichel. The flesh of the brain is a keli the Eibishter made that the Kliya Moyach Pasha understands Advar Seichel. Sometimes someone's telling you something, it's already, I'm tired and it's way over my head. But I can't remember the words. I'm going to forget it. What do? Take a pen and paper and you start writing. Write notes to yourself. Later, when you have time, you look back, the shir that I heard from Rosh Hashiva, for this. You read over and then you think about it, and then there's a Maila. With your hand, you could download more information, but it didn't seep into you. In your brain, you can understand the information, but you can't process more than you can process. The Maila of Bechira is the ultimate Kedusha. Kedusha shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's the Eibishter, not how much Maila this Makom has. The Eibishter's Bechira. So it's the Maila of the Eibishter. It's Ein Soif. But then it doesn't seep into this Makom. Then there's the Maila of this Makom. So we're saying that the Beis HaMikdash has both Mailas. And why is it Negela Alocha that the Beis HaMikdash has both Mailas? Why is it Negela Alocha that the Beis HaMikdash has both Mailas? Because a person will ask, why does it have to be that it's mamish? You're telling me, why? We find David HaMelech, the Eibishter was Vayivcher b'David Avdoi, and the truth is that the kingdom of David is unique and it lasts forever. But still, the Eibishter could pick another king. It could be Malachi Yisrael, and they have the din of HaMelech. Why can't it be? We see that the Eibishter did pick, but there is Menucha, which is called Teshiloi, which they were there for 369 years. So we're saying, no. The Rambam says that there's both milas. There's the Bechira, and also there's an intricate Kedusha in this place. And this place has both milas together, and therefore that teaches us and proves to us that not only a Mizbeach Mekomos mechuven beyoser, but also ein meshayin noisei Mekomos leoil. The Rebbe says, look in the Order 61, Tim Saloma, the Rebbe says that this is merumas in the Sifrei. The Sifrei in Parshas Re'eh says, Kim al hamokim asher yivcher Hashem. So the Sifrei says, the Rosh al pi novi, yochel tamtin ad sheyoyim alacha novi, tamaloymer, l'shichnoi sidrishu vasa shama, the Rosh metzoi, ve'achekach yoyim alach novi. Find the place. Find where's that miyuchazdike place that the Eibishter used its soil to create Adam Rishon. And that was the place that Adam Rishon brought his korban, and same thing Cain veHevel, and the same thing Noach, and same thing Avraham Avinu. And then, says the Eibishter, afterwards will be Drosh al Pinovi, I will to show you my place that I was boichem. In other words, there's two different things. There is finding the Kedusha that's integral, that's there, that's in the place already, for you to reveal it. On the other hand, the Eibishter is going to be Yivcher Hashem. He's going to send a Navi to show the place that he was Boicher b'Bchirosei HaChavshis. In other words, the Makom HaMikdash, B'frat, the Makom Mizbeach had two miles in it. The Pnimius Dike Kedusha that it had, its own Yichus, and also the Bechir of the Eibishter. Just like, similar to a Yid that has both miles, the Neshama and the Guf. The Neshama is the mile of Kedusha, and the Guf is the mile of Bechira. So, bringing us back to the original Shaila of Reb Dov Lavnuni, who thinks that we should use technology to try to find the Mokem HaMizbeach, since that we don't have to wait for the Beis HaMikdash to be rebuilt in order to bring Karbonos. And you can bring, especially a Korban Pesach, you can bring Betuma. All Yisrael is Betuma. So Rav Lavnuni would love.
Who wrote that book? Who wrote that book you just showed?
Rabbi Lavnuni. His name is Dov Lavnuni. Here's a picture of him.
Lavnuni.
Lavnuni. His original name was Weiss.
Libanoni.
I'm sorry, Libanoni. I'm sorry.
Okay.
And thank you for correcting me.
Okay, because there are other Sepharim that go very much into detail, and they did a lot of work on this issue, both from Chazal, from the Masechet Midot, and other places in the Talmud, and in the Toseftot, and in Josephus, and in archaeology, that it's possible to prove almost conclusively where the original Beit HaMikdash stood on the contemporary Har HaBayit.
Right.
I read these Sepharim myself.
Yeah. Okay, that's you missed out the introduction. I spoke about it in the introduction.
Last time when I was
but he had a unique idea. He said, once we will have technology, when he wrote the book, it wasn't yet so available, that to find cavities underground. He said, since the Beis HaMikdash was built with the Mizbeach, and the Mizbeach was built with the Beis Shittin that went all the way till Nachal Kidron, they said if you can locate under the Makom Mizbeach the two Shittin with technology that can find cavities in the ground, you'll know conclusively where's the Makom HaMikdash.
When I was in Yerushalayim last time,
yeah,
I bought a ticket to go underneath the Koisel. You have to pay to go to the Mechilot.
Right.
The new digging they find over there.
Right.
So they bought technology and video 3D, how the Beit HaMikdash was before, and to show you how was the Har HaBayit before it was built, and today.
Unbelievable.
The whole
It's a
thing,
must-see.
the whole thing is shifting right to left and forward and backward a little bit. So to say that somebody know exactly where is Beit HaMikdash, it's hard because things will shift. You could see from the picture, it's not like a square that you could measure. It was a mountain. We're on the top of the mountain.
Listen,
Right.
this is our mitzvah to be choker v'doirish.
I suggest you get a sefer called, quote, B'chatzrot Beit Hashem, by Solomon Korain. There he goes into the whole thing, like I say, from Chazal and from Josephus and from archaeology, and it's possible to prove almost conclusively. I know that the current Har HaBayit is rectangular. It's not the square, but it's
Right, exactly.
But it's possible to prove from all these sources where the original square was, and even where the original Azara was.
Right.
I can't explain
Like I said, I spoke about it in the beginning of the Shir, because it's true that it was 500 amas and 500 amas. If you look today at the walls of the Har HaBayit, it's not a square.
Yeah, that's the Sefer Turdus.
Right, exactly. It's definitely highly recommended for anyone that wants to get into the spirit of the 3 weeks. That if you could download and watch any of the videos that were made by any of the reputable organizations that are researching the building of the Beis HaMikdash, and to get a vision, to get a little bit of a Shabbos chazoin, to get a little bit of chazoin, to get a 3D, to get a kosher video that was actually worked on by Talmidei Chachamim and Yereim B'Shleimim, to show us and to give us a little bit of a view of what's going on, similar to what Shmulik got in the Koisel tour. It's definitely highly recommended in the 3 weeks. And anyone that has something good to recommend, please let me know. And before the next year, we'll try to send out everyone a link to that to be able to look at this. Eibush will help, and that before we get a chance to look at it, that we should be zoichetake to see the emes chazoin, that we should see not a simulation, but we should see the real thing. If it should be coming down from Shemayim, or we should build it, or both together, we'll be happy either way. The Eibush will help them that we should take in the schus of our learning. The Inyanim of the Beis HaMikdash, in the schus of our learning, and the Klal Yisrael's koching in the 3 weeks, and learning Maseches Tamid, the Maseches Midas, and the Hilchos Beis HaBechida, and the Inyanim, and trying to visualize it, not as something that's so distant, but something that's close. We should be zeichetake to see it.
I'd like to just mention my sister's yortzeit tonight. Naomi Ruth, Bas Aharon Simcha.
Amen. Sharon Aliyah.
Amen.
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 Okay, Skoyach, thank you so much.
It also be l'schus Chaim Melech, who's a yid that used to daven in our shul. This is our yortzeit tonight, and some of the people in the shul made a special thing for his yortzeit. So I'm lichtig again.
Amen.
Amen.
And also, I want to mention that should be the schus of Nachum Doi Vichnen. His father's yortzeit was on Shabbos, and today is his Yom Haledes. He should have a shnas hatzlocha baracha. And today there was a fabrengen. They had talmidim of his father, and there was 130 talmidim. They're sitting there for 2.5 hours, Taka using a pencil and writing down to myself some notes. The main thing is to see 25 years after a Rav and a Rosh Yeshiva passes away, and as Talmidim I feel so connected to him. It was just remarkable. One of the stories that one of the Talmidim said was that he was fabrenging in Yerushalayim. And in Yerushalayim, the Balei Tshuva Yeshiva make a big emphasis on the Koisel. Very, very big emphasis on the Koisel Amarov. The truth is, there is it's so inspiring. This is Za'amokim.
Esha Torah.
Exactly. So he said that Rabbi Vichnen, Ketum Alachayim, gesagt, forget the Koisel. The Koisel is connected to the Churban. It reminds you of the Churban. We have to visualize the Har Habayis is totally rebuilt with the Beis HaMikdash HaShlishi, with the Kodesh HaKadoshim, with the Lishkoas, with the Azores, with the Mizbeachos, and all in its place. So the Eivos will take a helping that we shouldn't just visualize the Koisel Amarovi, which is a remnant, and also part of the Beis HaMikdash, but just the remnants. That we should take it, we should visualize in our mind, and we should learn Mesachas Tamid, the Mesachas Midas, and we should visualize the Lishkoas and the Azores, the Makam Mizbeach, and in this chus that we visualize it as something close, that we should be zeicher take it, that we should have it taken from Yad Mamsh.
Amen. Amen. Don't forget, Hey Av is Ha'arizal Yotzeat.
Ari Achai.
Yeah.
Remembers of the couple times. Marzav, could I ask a quick question?
Yeah, sure.
The Chavetz Chaim was said you're allowed to go to the Har Habayis. He was suggesting that for the to bring a carbon.
Rav Chalak told me that he had it serious. He was a Kohen, and he was thinking he's going to come there and at Pesach he'll be able to bring the Korban Pesach.
But
in the Makam HaMikdash.
Yeah, because they're at Pesach you can go.
Nobody knows where in the Makam HaMikdash.
I'm telling you a shmur that I heard. You can call Rabbi Chalap. He's Baruch Hashem. It's a story he told me.
Remember we spoke about Erev Pesach, that the first years, the Rebbe told the Lubavitcher people in Yerushalayim to leave Yerushalayim.
Right.
So this way you don't have Chal stuff. You have to
There's a Shaila. Right. The early years, they never wanted Lubavitcher shouldn't stay in Yerushalayim. Then they gave it away to the Waqf. The Rebbe said, okay, forget about it.
Yeah, Moshe Dayan gave.
Not long ago, I was reading that from Eben Ashti over there, there's water coming out from the bottom, and they can't figure out with the water. But they know when the water coming out, Mashiach is coming. So the Arabs are going crazy.
Yeah.
Usually on Tisha B'Av it comes out. On Tisha B'Av, I hear that water comes out of the Eben Ashti.
Okay.
So this Tisha B'Av we should not have to fast. We should make it for bringing in Har Habayis.
Amen.
Okay, Shekorach everyone for joining us. A gute Nacht, a glückliche Nacht, and Atzlacha in this work week. In Mitzvah tomorrow night, there's a Yotzim and a Klal. I'm giving the shir. It'll probably be on the Yonim of the Beis HaMikdash.
Okay.
Okay, please join us. Either to be Mishnayos Midas, or as I said, there's an unbelievable controversy that happened in Tov Reish Lamed. This guy, Gelbstein, he has Einiklach still, the Lubavitcher Chassidin, they run the Chevra Kedisha, the Prushim Chevra Kedisha in Yerushalayim. So he wrote a sefer in 1870, he published about this whole thing that he said that you have to have Shomrim on the Makam HaMikdash. And then the Minket Sharuf said, well, this is Zionism. He wrote a sefer against it. It's a Freilach. Anyway, in Mitzvah Shem, we'll cover it either tomorrow or next Sunday. Bez Hashem is Baruch.
Okay.
Good. Atzlacha week at work.
Thank you.
Amen.
Thank you. Thank you.